Hello everyone, welcome to this series on cultural studies. And in this video, we are going to discuss the term bricolage in theory and discourse. Introduction. The concept of bricolage associated with the anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss refers to the process of using available resources and tools even if they are not perfectly suited to the task to solve a problem or construct a theory. This concept, originally rooted in the analysis of kinship structures, has been expanded by thinkers like Jacques Derrida to apply broadly across all forms of discourse. Bricolage underscores the idea that intellectual and cultural tools are often repurposed in ways that were not originally intended, reflecting the flexibility and adaptability of human thought. Bricolage in Lévi-Strauss's theory. Claude Lévi-Strauss introduced the term bricolage in his work The Elementary Structures of Kinship, 1969. He used it to describe how people use whatever concepts and categories are at their disposal to make sense of the world around them, even when those tools are not ideally suited to the task. In the context of his work, Lévi-Strauss was particularly interested in the distinction between nature and culture. He defined nature as which is universal, spontaneous, and independent of any particular cultural norms. In contrast, culture was defined as the domain of socially regulated norms, which vary from one society to another. This distinction, though seemingly clear, becomes complicated when examining phenomena like incest prohibition, which appears to straddle both domains. Incest prohibition is both a universal and spontaneous aversion, nature, and socially regulated norm, culture. This paradox highlights the limitations of the nature versus culture distinction, illustrating that these concepts, while useful, are imperfect. This use of a flawed yet indispensable conceptual distinction is an example of bricolage. Derrida's expansion of bricolage. Jacques Derrida, a philosopher known for his work in deconstruction, expanded the concept of bricolage in his essay Writing and Difference, 1967. Derrida argues that bricolage is not just an occasional necessity in theoretical work, but a fundamental aspect of all discourse. He suggests that all forms of communication and theory building involve borrowing and repurposing concepts from an incoherent or ruined heritage. In other words, every discourse is bricolier because it inevitably draws upon a mishmash of ideas, symbols, and frameworks that are already present in culture, even if they are fragmented or contradictory. Derrida's view escalates the applicability of bricolage, suggesting that no discourse is entirely original or self-contained. Instead, all ideas and theories are constructed from pre-existing elements, much like a bricolier uses whatever materials are at hand to create something new. This perspective challenges the notion of pure, original thought and emphasizes the intertextual and constructed nature of all knowledge. Bricolage and the nature of culture distinction. The concept of bricolage is particularly relevant when examining the nature or culture distinction that Lévi-Strauss attempted to draw. While this distinction is useful in many contexts, it also breaks down under scrutiny, as seen in the example of incest prohibition. The fact that this prohibition is both a natural and cultural phenomenon suggests that the rigid separation between nature and culture is artificial. The use of this distinction, despite its inadequacy, reflects the reality that intellectual tools are often rough, approximate, and imperfect. However, These tools are necessary for making sense of complex social and cultural phenomena. Thus, bricolage is not just a methodological necessity but also a recognition of the inherent limitations and complexities of human understanding. Conclusion: bricolage as a concept highlights the adaptive and resourceful nature of human thought. Both Lévi-Strauss and Derrida emphasize that the tools we use to understand the world are often imperfect, borrowed, and repurposed for existing cultural materials. In this sense, all theoretical and discursive work involves bricolage, as it builds upon a foundation of pre-existing ideas, concepts, and norms. The concept of bricolage challenges the notion of purely original thought and underscores the interconnectedness and constructed nature of all knowledge and discourse. Through this lens, the distinction between nature and culture, while flawed, remains a necessary tool for understanding the complexities of human societies. So this was the discussion on the term bricolage. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other term. Until then, goodbye and thank you.